Good evening and welcome to Orfield as we get you set for a late season boys lacrosse crash between Parkland Trojans and the Allentown Central Catholic Vikings. The regular season is winding down as playoffs loom on the horizon just a little over a week from today, making things a bit more interesting tonight as both teams enter at 6-1 in the EPC. Welcome to Parkland High School. I'm Gwen Begley, joined by Doug Heater. Now, Parkland is ahead in the all-time series against Allentown Central Catholic. They're both 6-1, second in the EPC behind league-leading Easton. A year ago, it was a thrilling overtime victory for the Trojans. Do we think that's going to happen again this year, Doug?
Well, I think so. I'm not sure if the coaches agree or want that. I don't think Central wants that, but I think so. Listen, these two teams are very close. When you compare scores with the comparable teams, when you look at the way they play, you look at the experience back. I mean, you're looking at all the basic stuff, the face-offs, not wasting possessions. So we're hoping. That was the best game that you and I did last year, including playoffs. So we wouldn't mind overtime again.
I know. That's why I was looking forward to this so much all season long. Let's first chat about the Allentown Central Catholic Vikings, 13-2, 6-1, as I mentioned, in the league. Back-to-back losses in the first 3 games of the season, but they've won 12 straight since, currently undefeated in April. Will Odenthal is in his 3rd season. The District 11 defending 2A champs were led by Michael Restino a year ago as a junior, and he picked up right where he left off, Doug.
Yeah, so his numbers are outstanding this season. Obviously, the numbers he's got, 37 goals, 10 assists, but he'll be one of the offensive players this Parkland team's got to be concerned about. Experience playing in tough games like this, seems to level or step up the level in close games like this, so he'll be one of the guys that obviously this Parkland team defensively has got to be concerned about.
Yeah, he'll want to get this one back in his senior season. Now moving on to those Parkland Trojans, your home team tonight, 13-3, 6-1 in the league. Winners of its last 3 and 8 of its last 10. Its only league loss, like Central, was to the Rovers back on April 3rd. Corey Andrews is in his 1st season after taking over the position for Parkland after being with the program since 2012. They have a really talented group of seniors, but it's a freshman we'll have our eye on tonight.
Yeah, and those numbers are accurate. 28 goals, 35 assists. That's number 1 on the team, and he's kind of a problem, is the way to say it offensively for teams defensively. He'll play behind the goal in that X position. He can score from there, and he can distribute from there, and that's what he likes to do first, is pass the ball. So that'll be a main threat that Central Catholic has to take away.
Well, this is just the first of 2 league games left for both of these teams before the EPC playoffs begin late next week. Will it go to overtime? You'll have to stay tuned to find out here on the Service Electric Network. We welcome you back to Parkland High School for a pivotal late season EPC matchup between Central Catholic and Parkland. Gwen Begley and Doug Heater with you here on SEN as we take a look at our starting lineups for tonight's matchup. This battle is all going to start right there at the face-off X, and we've got 2 great ones tonight for the Trojans. Number 22, Max Esteban. He is just 11 face-off wins away from reaching 500 in his career, so that will be a matchup to look out for sure. And also with the goalies, Chris Burke, they're over there for the Allentown Central Catholic Vikings, taking on Andrew Matalevichis. And of course, if we take a look on the left side of our screen, Alex Koretsos, he has been an outstanding freshman for this team. James McCarthy, Liam Farrell there on attack. Jack Restino, the brother of Michael Restino, we mentioned him a little bit. He'll be there in the midfield along with Tate Shoemaker, Carter Young, Connor Lawler, and Jose Santiago there on defense. We mentioned Chris Burke. Now, Colton Arezzi, of course, will be a pivotal guy on attack. But how about Parker Cusco becoming the all-time leading scorer their last time out with 222 goals? So he will need a lot of help, though, tonight as we are officially underway here from Parkland High School. Opening face-off, we mentioned very important, Max Esteban getting his 1st of the night.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the key to start. I mean, obviously, you got to win the face-off, but I think that's going to really be the key. And, of course, last year in that regular season win, Parkland kind of stepped it up late, winning from the circle. So, and the other thing I think too is the tempo and the pace we're going to get early on in this matchup too. What kind of pace does Parkland want to play, and how will Central defensively play this Parkland team, especially with Arezzi being so much of a threat from behind the goal?
Yeah, he's a guy that a lot of teams like to take out early, but as we mentioned, he doesn't skimp on the helpers. We'll see if he can find one here. Trojans going around in this circle. Parkland has been patient in their attack this season. A little bit of a misstep here. Rezi finding the midfield. They got a guy back.
So Lawler, 25, right now is behind the goal. That's the defender they have, making sure he doesn't come up. Rezi comes up in front. Cusco's going to take that familiar spot in the front, and he'll slide back and forth.
Yeah, Coach Andrews said, you know, if we were playing Rezi, we would put our best defender. And that's what we do during practice. We make sure that he's tested early and often. You can definitely tell as we got our first goal of the game, and who else but Parker Cusco adding to his all-time leading mark, the senior, getting the Trojans on the board tonight.
And this is a really nice goal for Cusco and a feed not coming from Arezi. He catches it, and watch him separate and go down. He also uses the Central Catholic defender's body in front of him to get it around for the goal. And a quick start, 1-for-1 possession goal for the Parkland Trojans. Looked like that might have been Lawler that stepped out. It's very difficult from up here to see those green, dark green on darker green jerseys, but I'm pretty sure that was Lawler that tried to step out.
I made a note about that first game of the season when I saw them against Parkland. I said, man, these are not going to work for our broadcast guys. You got to do something else. And I at least got them to wear black shirts underneath. I believe there was an email sent out, but I see quite a few in there, so we'll do our best with these jerseys, folks. We got another shot on goal here for the Trojans right up front. Cusco wanting a second of the game, but it'll result in the turnover. Here's a look back.
And the defense was much better that time getting up there again. That looked like that was Lawler 25. They've made some changes central to the starting lineup. I think Liam Fitzpatrick's in there defensively now with as another long stick.
Central with their first offensive opportunity of tonight's game. We mentioned both teams have really been looking forward to this all season long after that overtime matchup a year ago. That was during the regular season. First shot for the Vikings, ricochets and goes wide. James McCarthy back at X to scoop up the possession. McCarthy out at the wing now. He'll go back and forth. Matalevich making his first save of the game, so both goalies now with a stop early in the first quarter.
Perfect positioning by Matalevich for sure. 128 saves on the season.
Bouncing ball, can Cusco get it? They'll gain control, see if they can set their offense. Central needing good communication on defense tonight. That's something Coach Odenthal says he wants from his defense, especially his goalie and Chris Burke, who he said has matured greatly throughout the year. He's been splitting time with a sophomore goalie this season, testing each other, so to speak. That's Keegan Lamont, the sophomore.
Yeah, so he was telling us that Burke and Lamont have pretty much split time evenly, and asked if that will be going on tonight. He said, we'll see. So I imagine that with Burke starting, if he does really well in the first two quarters, he might stay with the hot hand.
Earn his spot there in between the pipes. He's got quite a lot of experience for this team over the last few years. They're trying to get control of this one so they can get their clear underway, get it through the midfield, but no go. That was Colton Arezi causing some issues there at the midfield. Burke with another save.
So that's two big ones for Burke. First one was an adjustment on Cusco's lower shot, and he also got a much better look at it, and that time up close was able to step in front.
All right, we got an early timeout here on the field. Central Catholic needing to get into a little bit of a better rhythm offensively. It seems they are a little rusty coming into this game, which makes sense. I mean, they have not been tested truly by an EPC team since really early in the season. I mentioned Easton. That was a tough one, I believe in their third game.
So this is after the low shot. So that, again, they go low on Burke, and he's able to step in front. The other thing, too, before we get back to that, is the fact that he was able to see both of those shots much better, and that's the kind of saves you're going to get from Burke. You know, Coach Odenthal, like most coaches do, all the big boys do it, they schedule out of state or in-state, but in other districts. And having the depth of the conference maybe not what it was, and even some of the AA teams not quite where they've been, you got to go out and hit some of those hammers to get yourself ready, and that's what they've been able to do. Man, this is a nice winning streak they got going all the way back to March.
Yeah, I know. 12 straight games for Allentown Central Catholic. They have not known what it's like to lose in a long time, and I know they don't want to find out today, and I know that we mentioned it in the opening, but that overtime loss a year ago still stings for these guys, so redemption is definitely a key word for the Vikings tonight. They've got numbers here. McCarthy, is he going to use his speed? He does. He goes 5-hole on Matalevich. James McCarthy taking advantage.
This is really nice, and this is the spark they needed coming off of the exchange. Coming in pretty clean, got a really nice pass from the defensive end, and there's nobody back defensively, so he puts himself in position, does McCarthy to go left hand with it, and he goes off the ground. That's pretty tough to stop from really any distance.
Yeah, and it's tough because Matalevich was just not even in his crease, so he had to get back, and it's hard to get yourself focused and planted to make that kind of save. Another face-off win for Max Esteban, inching closer to that milestone. He takes the shot, he scores! Max Esteban off the face-off.
Seen that before in this series.
Deja vu for the Vikings.
And this is what I think. This is one of the more fun positions to play in lacrosse, is that face-off guy. Because most guys, you know, you get the face-off win, you get down there, but to change it up a little bit with pressure, if you see an opening, and it seems like the better guys have that opportunity of doing that. That's just his 5th goal, but now he's got two face-off wins, and this is where you're concerned about going on a run.
All about possession, and once again, it goes to the Trojans. Yeah, Doug, if a face-off guy, a specialist, especially one that's not going immediately on the midfield, they're a FOGO, they're going to take that shot every time. Just like you see a long stick defender, they're going to take that opportunity if they see an open lane to the net. So Esteban getting yet another goal of the face-off against this Central Catholic teams, 2 years in a row for him. They send it topside. Unable to corral it, but the recovery crashed in by the Vikings defense. Great job by the Vikings. They're on the move past the midfield. Look to settle in.
It's an area where Coach Odenthal wants them to be consistent with. It's that fast transition. That's the type of play they like. And obviously the goal that tied it was off of a long pass, and that was the same situation. But Parkland was able to get back better that time, obviously. No goal, and now allows the Vikings to set up. And we'll see what kind of defensive matchups we get.
Parkland's got the size advantage defensively against the Central's offense, but these guys are quick. See a quick shot there, stopped by Matalevichus.
Yeah, Liam Farrell is the one that gets it off. Watch him come clear of the defender and goes low, but able to get Matalevichus able to get off the body and defend that far corner too.
Yeah, yet another opportunity there. Wide open lane to the net, but that one just went wide. Luckily, they retained possession here, and they'll get another chance. McCarthy sends it back up. Quick feed inside, unable to connect to McCarthy, and Matalevichus will swallow that one up for the clear. We'll see how more aggressive the Central ride gets throughout this game. They're easy to kind of let Parkland finish off their clear here, but I expect that to get a little bit more aggressive as the game goes on, especially if it's going to be one of these back and forth ones that it is already, Doug.
Yeah, I would not expect this to be anything different. What's interesting about this matchup is that you almost want to say it doesn't really make much of a difference, right? Because they're going to finish 2-3 in the EPCs. But, I mean, coaches never want to lose. And I know Central's really trying to get revenge. Plus, it's their biggest test since probably end of March. And you want to go into EPCs having won that matchup. These two teams will lock up 2-3. I don't think if Nazareth or Freedom's got a chance, or Emmaus. And Nazareth plays Freedom today to move into that 3.
Yeah, that's a big game there in terms of positioning. Great shot right in front.
That's Wetmore.
Bailey Wetmore, the sophomore midfielder, getting a piece of the pie here right from the top. Trojans going back to back to lead 3-1 with just over 4 minutes left to play in this first quarter.
Again, both of these teams have a lot of options to score and have shown it. Now we're going to see if the Trojans can put a run together. Another win for Esteban.
That is his 5th face-off win of the evening. So he is on a mission tonight. He'll stay on for a minute, get his guys back on the field. And Parkland once again with an opportunity. This is going to be the killer for the Vikings, Doug. If they can't get this possession, I mean, they got a young face-off guy. Yes, he's improved. They brought in Andrew Albertson, which is a former Parkland kid, to help him out at that face-off X. But when you're going up against a guy like Esteban, who has improved greatly, especially now here in his senior season, that's a tough matchup.
Man, you're looking at going down potentially 3 goals early.
Oh, wow, the recovery off the check. So he goes down, and it gets over to Danny Tapia.
He snuck in nicely from behind. You're going to see where the contact's made. Finnegan loses, it gets a kind of a shot off, a little bit of a shot, and then Tapia is in position. Again, this is why Central called a timeout a little earlier, was to control things or settle things down defensively. The Trojans have taken advantage.
Yeah, he got that off just in time before getting decked by a defender. So 3-goal lead for the Trojans as Esteban wins his 6th face-off of the evening. Trojans have won 5 East Penn Conference titles. Their last one coming in 2019. A year ago, they lost to Easton in the semifinal, 12-10. Those two already played earlier in the season. Easton won 14-11. So I know the Trojans will probably be wanting another crack at the Red Rovers. I think everyone wants another crack at the Red Rovers this year. Feed across the face of the goal, goes out of bounds, and Central with an opportunity now. Michael Restino near side. Oh, big hit here in the midfield. Flag goes up, and they'll get a free possession if they can hang on to it, that is. So Parkland scoops that one up, and Central Catholic will go man up.
Yeah, this was an easy call to make.
It was.
As Ethan leaks, it goes off the junior. So the Vikings got to take advantage here. Down. I mean, this is a simple call right in front of the official, and could probably seen that anywhere. Anybody in here would have said, "Oh, it's a penalty." But Vikings now really need to take advantage of this. Late first, down 3. Haven't had a whole lot. I mean, haven't really been able to put together much possession. You know, that goal was on a long transition after a timeout. So this is a chance for them to make this one work and get to within 2.
Big opportunity for Allentown Central Catholic, who has been a little bit plagued by slow starts this season, although they've matured and gotten a little bit better in the second half. See if they can get one here and get themselves into a rhythm. Just seems they haven't really settled or gotten really comfortable with what they're running so far. So Parkland has 4. 2-man down. So Central's got 6, Parkland's got 4. So 2 men down. They called a second penalty off of that sequence. So Central quick to take the shot. That one ricochets. And unfortunately, the Vikings throw away quite literally their opportunity because Matalevicius was back there.
I thought Central had a guy closer to the end line there.
It did look like that, but I think right where the ball went out, that's where Matalevicius was closest to it.
They got a chance to kill here if they, well, no, not so much.
Yeah, they got to get possession back if they want to capitalize on this opportunity. They are still man up. Parkland gets one back. Another shot deflected off of a helmet.
That was Winfield, I think.
Colin Winfield getting a little rattled there on the helmet. A little disjointed offense from Central Catholic right now, struggling to make some clean passes. Full strength for these teams. Quick turn and shoot. Matalevicius makes a stop. See if McCarthy feeds top side, and that one gets cut off by the Trojans. Drew Schaefer, the junior defender. Here's that more aggressive ride. See McCarthy trying to get this one back.
Oh, that's going to be a penalty on Central.
That's going to be a push from behind for McCarthy, so Parkland will go man up.
Leaks, who committed the penalty, is the one. Oh, that's that Magalore, I believe, that got it from the backside this time. Yes, we're having some words there during that exchange.
Yeah, these teams got to stay disciplined. I mean, it's late season. They're both tied in the EPC, trying to vie for that second seed heading into the playoffs next week. So emotions are high. We talked about, redemption being a huge factor for Central Catholic. Parkland wanting to prove, all right, it wasn't.
Yeah.
That was should not have won that game in overtime. Should have won it in regulation. But either way, Parkland gets another opportunity here on the man up. Shot from a distance. That one goes wide. That was off the stick of Blake Finnegan. Finnegan and Arezzi passing along. Arezzi tries to go top shelf. It hits the post. And he's frustrated. Just an inch, that was right there.
And Matt Kelly had a chance, number 9, to get an opportunity in there, but couldn't do it. That's awfully close. But another great possession by Parkland, despite not getting anything on the scoreboard.
And again, another turnover at the midfield. Parkland gets a shot from the long stick. I mentioned they're always going to take that shot, Doug.
And that was Magalore again that came in.
And he is just hounding Burke. So a good timeout called by Central to get their goalie out of some trouble as he was getting chased pretty heavily by Christian Magalore, the junior defender. Came in with one shot, make it 2.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good opening quarter right now for Parkland, and a good decision to settle things down for the Vikings. Again, their only goal was off of a timeout. They need to, at the very get a possession here, have some time, and maybe get a goal back. But also got to figure out how to be better possession offensively and get a couple more shots and just control the action a little bit more. And defensively too, they've been a little disjointed, as you were saying earlier.
Yeah, it's just a little bit. Nothing's quite clean right now for Allentown Central Catholic. It's a little messy, and I would not expect that to stay that way for the rest of the game. Remember, last time they called a timeout, it was James McCarthy immediately scoring a goal off of the restart because he had the numbers, he took advantage, and Parkland hadn't gotten set yet. So I assume Matalevicius will be ready for it this time because it's a similar situation, similar spot. He's going to take it there at the midfield. Steve Restino and Over on the sideline, Coach Odenthal in his 3rd season, taking over after the late, great Dan Dolphin. This is the only team in District 11 to win a PIAA championship. That was back in 2021. A lot of those guys still playing for Division I teams. Central, they're trying to get those numbers again. A quick catch and shoot up front. What a play. Again, James McCarthy off the restart.
Good positioning this time, and this one was even nicer because of him able to get behind the defense and then know what shot, make that decision quickly to go low once again, and that was a much-needed possession and goal by the Vikings.
Needing to use their speed to beat these Trojans tonight. They cut the deficit in half, 4-2, 18 seconds left to go, so we'll get maybe one more face-off here. Max Esteban. This is a battle. Luke Seiler couldn't get a hold, but he comes away with it eventually. Oh, the pass doesn't connect, and another opportunity goes away for Allentown Central Catholic. They trail 4-2. Parkland with a great start here in Orfield. Second quarter action coming up right after this on SEN. We welcome you back here at Parkland High School for some EPC boys lacrosse action. Gwen Begley and Doug Heater with you here on the Service Electric Network. We thank you so much for joining us. This is the matchup we've been waiting for all year long as Parkland and Allentown Central Catholic proved themselves to be top contenders in the league from the get. So we knew it would end up here late in the season. They're both tied in the EPC 6-1. Easton holds the top spot pretty steadily, still undefeated. But anything else after that is up for grabs. I believe it is a 4-team field,
yes.
Doug.
Yep. Yeah, so Freedom and Nazareth play tonight, and right now they're battling Nazareth based on having winning percentage, one less game than Emmaus, who has one left against Parkland. Nazareth's in the 4, Freedom's in the 6. They play today. One of the other games in the EPC, Easton's playing Pleasant Valley, and that was a 9-1 lead after 1, so I don't see that being a gigantic upset.
No.
It's not going to happen.
PV's not going to come back.
No.
Well, we got Esteban not getting upset at the face-off X here tonight. He wins another. All about that possession battle, and that's something Central Catholic knew coming in. But Esteban is on his game tonight, that is for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the one the Vikings won most recently, the only one he's lost was this last one, and they ran out of time. So if you're going to lose one, it's at the very end of a quarter.
So he's won 7 of 8. Tonight we mentioned he had 11 to go before a big milestone. See Finnegan trying to call on the offense. We'll see if he shoots from here. He does. And that one will hit a piece of the post, but Burke able to get control and send it deep.
Central has a chance. They've got numbers.
Ristino with the shot, and it's stopped by Matalevichus. He saw that one coming from a mile away.
So Parkland made a change late, and Central got down so quickly. They had advantage about 4-on-2.
McCarthy, what a great play from McCarthy. Took a hit.
And a little bit more energy. You saw coming out of that quarter break that Will Odenthal was talking to number 6. Much better that time, not allowing Parkland to get out of there clean, and then they got a second opportunity.
Yeah, maybe wanted to make a couple extra passes, settle into offense off that turnover, but instead it goes to the Trojans, so another opportunity. The Parkland defense causing a lot of issues for the Vikings tonight. And no rush if you're the Trojans.
No. Yeah, you're noticing that even on the change.
Great stick work, and he tries to bounce it in. It trickles
Yep.
just past before he can get it. Wow, Blake Finnegan getting lucky on that one.
I think Finnegan's had a really good game so far. He's playing both ways. He's able to sneak by, and then watch this. With contact, it goes off the foot and basically both legs of Burke and trickles in. But he's been all over the place on both sides, and it looks like Matt Kelly, number 9, would get the assist. And that's a frustrating one for Burke because he's in position. It's it's like a hockey goalie, right? You let one sneak underneath there.
Yeah, I mean, he made the stop, but unfortunately it let loose a little bit. I've seen that happen a couple times on this field.
Now, once again, Parkland wins the draw.
Great feet up front, unable to get control of it. However, the Vikings now with the chance. They find McCarthy. He's pushed back out, tries to scoop it over, but again, just these messy passes for Central. Luke Walter there at the top, number 13. McCarthy with it now near side. Work his way back to X, see if he feeds up top. Quick short feed, quick stick, goal once again for the Vikings. Luke Walter, number 13.
And this was done nice offensively because McCarthy snuck up front, and Parkland had made a switch. They'd been playing a zone, and they dropped somebody back on X, and then McCarthy on a second pass is able to sneak in there. That's been an area at Central when they've had couple opportunities to sneak one by. That last line of defense for Parkland right in front of the goal.
Those second chance opportunities benefiting Luke Walter there. That his 11th goal of this season. Now here's Central getting a face-off win. Vikings been a little banged up this season. They got a few guys back in this game. I believe Quinn Driscoll's back. He missed the last 5 games. Works his way around, and there we go. They're coming back. Jack Cristino.
Yep, 37th of the season, coming around the backside of the goal. That's back-to-back. So pretty good defense there for Parkland, but spins and is able to create some separation and able to go through 2 defenders. Almost like he was going to commit behind the goal and come around. That's a nice job by the Vikings to get that back to win 1.
Yeah, quick thinking for Cristino, recently committing to Stony Brook University. Going to go play some Division I lacrosse there at Stony Brook. And again, Central coming away with it. They're trying to build this momentum. Settle in a bit for the Vikings. Happy to keep it spread out top side. Now the Parkland defense trying to push them out. They're successful so far. They're trying to wait for that errant pass, and there it is. But McCarthy at X to get possession.
So Parkland in a man defense, that's clear right now.
He's got Driscoll back there.
Now Schaefer is kind of manning the middle defensively there, number 33.
Double team, but they pick it up, and Matalevicius makes the save. What a stop by the senior goalie.
That was point blank shot, but he had clear vision of it.
Quick in transition. Arezzi thinks better of it. Waits till his offense gets settled, and Finnegan will hold on. Back-to-back goals from Allentown Central Catholic brings this one within 1. And both of those dug off of face-off wins. So ever important as Arezzi using his speed to get around, but Burke sees it in time.
Now there's an example of what he can do. Arezzi defended well by Central, and then Burke in perfect position.
Chris Burke's 5th save of this game so far. The ride a little tighter, and it gets scooped up. Parkland's John Garancher with a turnover up front. It's Parker Cusco with the finish.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering what was going to happen. How you get? He goes in clean. And he's also got an opponent, or he's got a teammate to his left. So this is a no man's land for Burke.
Yeah, you don't know if he's going to pass it right over to Arezzi, or you're going to take Parker Cusco 1v1, and he'll take it himself. But that's a tough one for Burke.
Yeah, and that's a tough turnover for Central. Kind of looked like it was self-inflicted in their own end, and they made him pay. And they had just gotten to within 1, too, also.
That ride can make a difference for these teams. Wow, how to stay with it. I believe that's Driscoll. Feet up front, quick backhand, stopped by Matalevichus. Great heads-up play by the goalie.
Yeah, back-to-back big saves that you'd expect from him. Number 19, the senior.
That is Matalevich's 6th save on the evening, so pretty even matchup goalie-wise, and both teams just getting some shots off. It's just Parkland's our quality, and Central's our quantity.
Yeah, and the Trojans were able to get that out of their end and set everything up. Well, it was Colin Winfield, the defender, number 66, who's been busy back there, was able to carry it out.
5 minutes left to go here in the first half. The Trojans using some patience. Danny Tapia sending that over to Kelly. He shoots from a distance, again hits the post. Burke has gotten saved by those 2 pipes a few times tonight.
I thought it was Arezzi too that crossed in front to create a little bit of a little distraction.
And I'll take it right to the house. Again, just too quick on the trigger for the Vikings. That was Jack Restino with the opportunity.
So McCarthy's going to bring it back in.
Tate Shoemaker trying to find that sweet spot. Glove side for Matalevichus. That's a no-go, so that one goes wide. A lot of off-target shots here in the first half for Central.
And this, getting the Trojans in man, and I think they've got some guys that have matched up well. That's Matt Scott, 25, that has been able to defend. He had Shoemaker that time.
Yeah, so while these shots have been wide, the defense is really causing them to make these shots. But
nice.
That one, they'll get it to go. That is Tate Shoemaker, number 10 for the Vikings, bringing it back within 1.
Trading goals, kind of what we expected. And he was able to create a little separation, but shoots right through. Strong left-hand shot. You've got nobody on that side. And a little bit of action in front for Matalevichus. It's just too many shots there. Shoemaker shooting the bow and arrow. That's a big goal for Central to come back. They're starting to be a little bit more consistent offensively and seem to be in a much better rhythm.
Yeah, they need to pick up those pace because they beat the slide in that situation. Yep. So Shoemaker was able to get that free lane to the goal.
Yeah, part of it too, they've been successful in face-offs.
Good 1-2-3 punch, and they finish once again. Allentown Central Catholic ties it up. Shoemaker going back-to-back.
Right off the face-off, and what Coach Odenthal wanted: transition, win the draw, go down, get in position, and he talked about holding the ball as an offensive attacker for less than 2 seconds, and look at how quick they move it. From behind the goal, McCarthy finds his teammate for back-to-back goals.
James McCarthy with 3 assists so far. He has been the helper this season. He came in with 52 helpers.
You look at those numbers, you're like, wait a minute, is that correct? Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah,
22 goals, 52 assists. That's the kind of guy you want on your team.
Yep.
Another face-off win for Central. Driscoll with it now near side. He goes to the top. You know, those passes can't bobble around a team like the Trojans with the way they've been playing defense this game. Oh, he was going to do a drive-by with post.
Yeah, the Vikings, they're starting to feel it. You can just see a different intensity from them. It's all been starting with them being able to win the face-off and settling in, getting some really good looks, great crisp passing.
Here's Liam Farrell. Charging in the shoot. And they score, taking the first lead of the game. Jack Restino, his second of the quarter.
So this is they've got a 3-goal streak going, and it's all been off the face-off, and Restino comes in clean once again. Watch him getting through the defenders who are just a little slow to get in position, and nobody steps over and helps out defensively.
Catching him off guard, that's the way that they're getting these goals. 5-2 outscoring Parkland in this quarter. Doug mentioned 3 straight. There's Esteban with a face-off win. He shoots and he's stopped by Burke. There's that momentum, Doug.
And a much better job coming out right now for the Vikings, but you're right. So they win. The Trojans finally win a face-off, but it's Burke in position. Esteban decides he's going to take advantage, and it was a pretty good decision. Vikings once again in that man defense. And
Farrell.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
nice
that's a
job.
tough one. That's a great defensive play by Drew Schaefer. Sends it up to his offense. They'll make quick work of it. Rezi fires. That's stopped. Piece of the post. You could hear it. Battle at the crease here. Burke's trying to get control of it. He does. Now they got to work their way through again. Shoemaker with it now. He's got Jack Restino up top. Happy to just hold on to it as long as they can. There's less than 2 minutes left in the first half. Big hit up top, but Central just rolls off it. And joke's on them because they get it to go. Restino once again, his hat trick gives them an 8-6 lead.
Well, this is a completely different team right now, and that was Scott, 25. I thought he played that well defensively with the contact here, but he keeps his feet and is again getting a really good look. You see the body for Central come across in front of Matalevicius, and again they're getting, I mean, complete the body around the defender and complete movement. You're able to rip one and not have anything defended, not have anything stopped.
Face-off win for Esteban. He hands it off this time. Rezi wanted it. That was the milestone marker for Max Esteban. 500 career face-off wins for the senior Fogo.
Was waiting to see if the Trojans would take a timeout. They waited till after winning the face-off, and there's Esteban.
Yeah, give him his moment for a minute.
And the Trojans have a chance to set something up offensively. They haven't had a whole lot of possession time in this second, and Central's been a simple formula. They've been able to win the face-off, and they've been way better. Almost like the emotion of winning the face-off, the intensity picks right up with their possession, and they've been much crisper. Remember, Willenthal talked to us about holding the ball. You don't want to have the ball too long, and he's looking at quick transitions, and the Vikings have definitely done that in this second quarter, and that's why they have a 2-goal lead.
So Parkland need to figure out how they got to this point. In Central, that momentum has been everything. Winning the faceoffs has been everything, but you can't keep Esteban down for long. And you can see he was a little gas coming off.
Yeah.
He's had to battle for these, and he's had some really great battles this season. With Nazareth, he had a tough battle at the faceoff X. Now, he was not the starter a season ago. He earned that position. Perhaps we watched him earn that solid position as he got that overtime goal.
Yeah, he knows what it's like to win against this team late.
So Parkland with an opportunity here with 1 minute left to go in the first half. Tries to battle off the body, and that one stopped up front right at that top of the crease. Flag down, however.
You're going to see the penalty as Central reached over, and it's kind of like a hold or a... Yeah, so it's going to go on Rustino. He reached over with his lacrosse stick and was able to, it kind of impeded the progress. Watch go into the goal, and they were frustrated because he thought it was clean, but right here, and it just grabs on. Actually doesn't look as bad from that angle, but
sold it a little bit
from where we were sitting originally. Yeah, no, that was right. And now this is going to be a tough 45. And yeah, I don't know. I kind of agree with him now. I was like, maybe it just looked bad from our angle.
It did. Well, that's the guy they want off the field. So Jack Rustino will take a knee, man up opportunity for the Trojans. 30 seconds left to go. They fire low, but a body in front. So Granger denied by the defense. We'll see if he wants another opportunity. Passes it across, the shot stopped by Burke. Another opportunity as Arezzi scoops it up. 15 seconds, and the crossbar stopping him this time.
That was Granger again, and this will go to the Vikings. Boy, the Vikings in that last possession did a really excellent job of matching up with Parkland and just not giving them that good of a look.
Throw it away, and they'll just have 0.8 seconds to work this through, but
there it is. Oh, man.
Ooh, so close. Well, he'll get plenty of more opportunities, I'm sure, as we are done with the first half. 4 straight goals from the Allentown Central Catholic Vikings puts them in front 8-6. We'll be back with stats and highlights after this on SEN. We welcome you to a beautiful night in Orfield for an EPC clash between Allentown Central Catholic and your hosts, the Parkland Trojans, who trail 8-6 after the first half, but it did not start this way. They led 4-2 going into the second quarter. Gwen Begley and Doug Heater with you tonight. Doug, it changed a lot to start the second. Now Parkland started well, but this quickly turned into Central's game.
Yeah, the Vikings completely turned things around in the second quarter, and a lot of it had to do with the draw, but the Trojans built a 5-2 lead, so they got 3. This excellent move by Blake Finnegan to score up and over, so to speak, against the Vikings. And then it seemed to be all Central Catholic. Luke Walter is going to, and this is where the Vikings, I think, really turned it up. And you're seeing an advantage of, or kind of what they did, passing quick pass, all the way through. Here's McCarthy, 3 assists so far in this game. He turns around and he scored. Actually, that's Rustino that's going to score. And then the Trojans will come back, and this was the 2-on-0, and it's Parker Cusco. And I don't think anybody, he might put 2 goalies in there, not going to get that one. It's his second goal of the game. That puts him back up 6-4, and it's all Central after this. You're going to see back-to-back goals coming up from Tate Shoemaker. That's going to, he makes it ties, or makes it 6-5, then it's 6-6. Farrell's going to attack the goal and find Shoemaker again. They're going to dish it back to McCarthy. There's Tate on the right side this time, so that second goal ties it up at 6. And then Restino goes back-to-back. Beautiful job of clearing away because the Trojans switched up to that man-to-man defense, and then he's going to get the last goal of the quarter. Contact made from Scott. He gets his feet, goes left-handed with this one, scores again, back-to-back goals to make it an 8-6 lead for Central after 2 quarters.
Jack Restino with 3 goals, all scored in the second quarter as they take control headed into the second half. We'll be back with some stats coming up right after this. You're watching EPC Boys Lacrosse here on the Service Electric Network. An exciting first half between the Parkland Trojans and the Allentown Central Catholic Vikings. We went over how we got here to this 8-6 score. Just before the break, it was all Parkland, and then it was all Allentown Central Catholic. The Vikings looked very disjointed, didn't get into a rhythm in that first quarter, but things quickly turned in their favor, and a lot of those started with wins at the face-off. Max Esteban for Parkland has been stellar at the dot, but Luke Seiler got a couple, and man, they capitalized on it when they got that opportunity.
Yeah, and I think that's obviously going to be the biggest difference moving forward. And now if you're the Trojans, you got to be concerned about falling too many goals behind, even though the Vikings fell behind 3 at 5-2 and were able to come back and put together what they did. But it starts with that face-off win, and then it started with their intensity and being just much better, much crisper. So the adjustment now becomes, can Parkland find an answer defensively? Because it seemed like either when they went zone or they went man-to-man, the Vikings were able to work it through, work it from teammate to teammate and find open guys. And you see the big boys are scoring. Restino's got a hat trick. Shoemaker goes back-to-back, and they were much better. I mean, that Parker Cusco goal for the Trojans was impressive, but it was kind of on a broken play defensively for the Vikings, so they went 2-on-none. So and the goalies too should be interesting because it's going to be intense between these two guys, especially. And I imagine Burke, with the way he played, stays in the second half.
I would keep Burke in, but you never know. I mean, like we were saying to Coach Odenthal, I mean, how nice is it to not only have a goalie that's mature, that you know is good, who's past playoff experience, championship experience. They've been in every single District 11 2A final. Chris has started the last few, but knowing that you have someone else that's capable of stepping into that role makes the things a lot easier and more comfortable for your team. But Central trying not to rely on that. They're hoping their defense can keep the Trojans out of the net. You taking a look at total shots, super even across the board on all of these. However, Esteban reaching face-off win number 500 of his career with those 11-1. Seiler and the Central Catholic midfield getting 5 there. Ground balls, though, Doug, that could be the killer for Central. They got to clean that up in the second half.
Well, the stats are very even, and part of this now, I mean, with everything that we've talked about, all right, so your face-off wins are going to be even more crucial because you got a tight game. The ground balls are being caused by either errant passes or some good defense, so you got to make sure if you lose possession. So everything stays the same, but you turn the wick up a little bit as far as making sure that every possession you get offensively, you're gonna get some production from for sure. And there's where we sit currently with the EPC Easton way in front of Pleasant Valley in their game. Nazareth Freedom played today. So this game, most likely, I mean, Central's got, they have one more opponent in the league yet. They have Becca, which is going to be winnable. That's in a couple days. I mean, Becca is 0-7, 0-12. And the other thing is Nazareth Freedom today. So it looks like this is going to be for the 2-3 spot.
Oh, absolutely. Easton's pretty much got that top spot on lock, barring any type of meltdown. They have got that top seed going in. They are the defending EPC champions. Last year, they won both championships, including their first ever District 11 title. So the Red Rovers will be looking to defend that this year. But these two teams we see before us, they both lost to Easton this year. So they're going to want redemption. They also both lost in the EPC semifinals a year ago. Central falling 9-7 to Emmaus. The Trojans falling to Easton 12-10. So two-goal games there in the EPC semifinals. Kelly up top, he tries to spin around the defense, but just denied by several Vikings defenders. So great turnover early in the third quarter for the Vikings.
And it's an example of what Central did at times in the first quarter and more in the second, but converging on the player attacking the goal, and maybe 2 or 3 or even 4 guys.
Wow, Jack Restino from the midfield to the crease. He gets his 4th goal of the game and the first for the Vikings in this quarter.
3rd in a row.
Wow, the speed.
Yes, and again, they want to attack, but look at him getting through all the long sticks and all the defenders. That's been a problem so far at times. Actually, it seems like that player, whether it's going to be the guy that's going to dodge or even in that situation where he attacks from midfield, Parkland's had a hard time adjusting to that and slowing that particular player down, and most of the time it's been Restino or Tate Shoemaker who have scored all 5 of the last 5 Central goals.
We are back at the face-off X. Central Catholic leading 9-6. So they have scored 5 straight goals since midway through the second quarter. They've silenced the Trojans so far. And a huge face-off win here for Luke Seiler. Ooh, feet up front. Good slide by the Trojans to be able to push this one back out. Happy to hold on to it as the Vikings try and figure out how they want to attack this defense. The Trojans not been able to stop them since I mentioned midway through that second quarter. That last goal was with 6 minutes left in the second from Parker Cusco. And again, Doug, that was an opportunity kind of handed to him.
Well, so it was 5-2 Parkland when they had a chance to go up 4, and this time you had a 9. You completely turned around, and Central goes. It was 9-6 has a chance to go up 4. That was a big play by Arezzi. That's a little tiny thing we're going to see there, where he was able to outfight and get position at midfield. But that was another self-inflicted turnover by the Vikings. They had a chance. They were trying to patiently work it around and just miscommunication.
Trojans trying to erase this deficit here. You see John Garancher up top trying to direct his offense. He'll make his way inside, shooting from that top side. And Burke once again coming up with a big stop.
Point blank, but again, Burke, there's no congestion in front of him. He's able to see it clear.
You can just see that Vikings are just playing with more confidence. They're more fluid.
Well, that's against the Vikings.
Yeah, turn of possession here. Good opportunity for the Trojans. Finnegan with it on the near sideline. Shot taken, that one again hitting the post. Seen that ring a lot tonight. We heard that ring a lot tonight, Doug.
Yeah, and that's Cusco. Oh, that was nice.
Colton Arezzi off the second chance.
Let's see what happens after this now, because this is the energy they needed. I wonder, I mean, this is Cusco getting this started with the contact, creating the turnover, and then finding Arezzi up front. Those two obviously have to be a factor moving forward to keep things going. I was waiting for it to go the other way.
Yeah,
with
I was
Arezzi
going to say,
find him.
usually it's the other way around with the amount of assists Arezzi has had, but
big contact. Let's see if that gets it going.
maybe a sign to play a little bit more physical here. Esteban with another face-off win. Sends it to Lincoln Brayford. Brayford has been a huge factor as a long stick midfielder for this team this year. He'll be headed to Misericordia University. Down by 2, Trojans, I mean, they really got to build off the momentum. That aggression came from Parker and Arezi. Shot from a distance, that one bounces wide.
That's Finnegan that tried to one-hop it. They keep possession.
Working off the crease, he turns, he shoots that one a little too high up in his stick. Loses control to go wide.
Starts with a screen behind the goal. Arezi might as well give it a shot. They couldn't defend it. We'll see if they go back to that.
It's worked for him plenty before, so. And an errant pass inside. We got a down player here for the Trojans, so they'll call this whistle.
So that's Wetmore.
So Bailey Wetmore shaken up on the play. Good enough to walk off for the sophomore midfielder who has 16 goals this season. Make that 17. He scored early in the first quarter to make it 3-1 Trojans.
So this stays with Parkland now. Battle of ground ball attempts there on that last possession as Central tried to come out of their zone.
Underway once again here. Parkland with possession. About 7 left to go here in the third quarter. This after letting up 5 straight for the Vikings. Finnegan! Parkland making their way back. 2 straight goals. Blake Finnegan brings them within 1.
Once again, very similar to what the Vikings have been able to do successfully. Let's get that one-on-one matchup and attack the goal. Little mini screen there, and he's able to clear and get a good shot, and that's tough for Burke from this angle to ask him to make these stops consistently, and it gets on you so quick.
Second goal of the game for Blake Finnegan. He was first to get scoring underway in the second quarter. That made it 5-2. Now he makes it 9-8. And this is the game that we expected, Doug, a back and forth type of contest. It's what we saw a year ago from these two teams. Liam Farrell sends it up top to Shoemaker. Shoemaker has a couple in this contest. He scored back-to-back goals in the second quarter.
Oh, man.
Wanting that quick stick from McCarthy, unable to connect, and Trojans get it back.
Nice idea, just a little bit too high, and he got in front of the goal or to the side of the goal clean.
Tight ride for the Vikings on the clear, and they get it back. Getting with some physicality in the midfield. They got numbers once again. They shoot and they score. Allentown Central Catholic gets it back. Liam Farrell with it this time.
Yeah, in good position and really difficult. That was Rob Gertis that they tried to get him to carry the ball out of the zone, and Central makes contact. Again, a turnover, and then hits Farrell. Perfect position. He had a teammate to his left if he wanted it. Trojans late getting back, and one hops it off the ground. He's been kind of quiet tonight, but made it count when he had the opportunity.
Quiet in scoring, but his off-ball movement has benefited his team, creating opportunities for his teammates, but getting a piece of the pie for himself this time. Esteban winning the face-off. Mentioned the Vikings losing in the EPC semifinals a year ago. They have 7 district titles, however. Winning a year ago, they'll be looking for back-to-back. Now, the only one they didn't win in the last several years was in 2023, and that's when Northwestern Lehigh won their first ever District 11 2A title. The Tigers have been a thorn in quite a few teams' side, including Parkland's triple overtime between the Trojans and the Tigers. Burke making a big stop, close range stop.
That was Cusco that attacked. Stays with Parkland.
10 saves for Chris Burke. Senior goalie came in with 94. So he is over 100 on the season. His counterpart, Keegan Lamont, has 87 saves, so Odenthal wasn't kidding around. He likes to use them kind of half and half. But you got to imagine in these big game situations late in the season, even playoff, you can benefit from that experience he brings. Good turnover for the Vikings.
Yeah, that was Carter Young that created that. He did a great job of defending against Arezzi and then able to create the contact, loose ball, scooped it up and got it out of there.
That was Alex Karetsos with the ball. Freshman for this team. Had a 10-point game earlier this year. It was against Scranton Prep. If you don't know, 10 points in a game for a freshman is pretty darn impressive. And they throw it away.
Another missed chance for the Vikings, even though they've got back to a 2-goal lead. They've some opportunities. If this game gets away from them in the fourth, they're going to look back in this third with a couple of big. So you get the big save down here. You get the turnover created by the defense for Central, by Young, and then unable to finish off. Oh, man.
Wow. A lot of net movement because that's how hard that shot was, hitting the crossbar.
Man, they are just missing on these.
Vikings with a chance. Up by a couple with less than 4 left to play in the third quarter. Shoemaker with it now. He's got Karetsos on the wing. Finds him. And he loses it once again. Another turnover in their own attacking zone. Parkland difficult to get through.
That was McCarthy. Nicely done.
Wow, that's the second time he's caused some turnovers off his physicality. Feet up front, unable to connect the pass. Unfortunate for Allentown Central Catholic.
And just those little things. I mean, McCarthy was able to create another chance, and they can't finish it.
Yeah, he's kind of sitting back on his heels there on the other end of the field. You can tell he's a little disappointed how that one shook out, but gotta have a short memory, Doug.
Yeah, a lot of frustration on both ends.
Yeah, quite a few empty possessions for both teams, but they go 1v1, and once again, don't sound too shocked to that ringing sound.
Man, that unreal.
It is Parkland versus the post.
And that was Cusco who had a great look.
Arezzi.
Oh, it might have been Kelly that had it.
He tries to fire from a difficult angle, close range. That one getting a piece of a couple defenders. So that goes out the far sideline, and Central Catholic was there.
The Vikings are going to take a timeout, it looks like. They got to feel pretty good with this 2-goal lead going into the last couple of minutes of the quarter.
So trading turnovers, trading empty possessions here. I mean, both teams are a little frustrated right now, so this is a great timeout in terms of, all right, how do we get settled in? It's late in the third quarter. We don't have that much time to go.
St. Luke's is the region's largest sports medicine provider, serving over 250,000.
Yeah, and the Vikings got to be really disappointed with the amount of chances that they've had, even to possess it a little bit longer too with a lead. I mean, they still have the lead, but they've had a chance to go up 3, maybe up 4. McCarthy's showing that frustration because he did a great job of not committing a penalty and creating the turnover. They've done a great job, Central has, of picking up the ground balls, and meanwhile Parkland's doing just enough defensively to hang in there. Missed chance. They've had, and their frustration is going to be hanging. They're going to hear that pipe sound in their dreams tonight.
They really are.
Because it's been a lot.
They're going to get triggered by that sound because we've heard it quite a few times. It's been the soundtrack of the Trojans' offense so far in this game. Mentioned both teams coming in with just one EPC loss, both just to Easton. Their other losses were from out-of-area opponents. So Academy of New Church was someone that Central only lost by a few goals in that one, 9-5. And Parkland lost to Wilson, Westlawn, and Springford. Mentioned we saw somebody in a sling over there, Bailey Wetmore. Yeah. He was the one that was kind of holding his arm on that one play. He went off, so hopefully that's precautionary for him and not too serious. That's not a player that these guys want to lose. He has 1 goal in this game in that first quarter. On the restart now, we've got under 3 left to play in the third quarter. Central's been successful out of timeouts so far in this game. Will that continue? Great defense by the Trojans. Drew Schaefer with the quick stick check, but Vikings able to gain back control. Nearly happened again. Quick dodge and slice through the defense. It was Michael Ristino, who Coach Odenthal told us has been a little banged up this season. He's been kind of playing hurt all year long, which with 37 goals coming in.
Yeah, the numbers don't tell that story.
Numbers do not tell that story. He's a tough kid. Great feed inside. However, Parkland's defense denies the opportunity. Vikings, great awareness on this possession. Getting their ground ball total back up, Doug.
So Schaefer's been really good, and Magalori had that play right before Schaefer got it, almost cleared it out. Yeah, they've clamped down in that middle.
Minute to go here in the third. The lane cut off from Karetsos. He's battling with Arjun Williams. Not enough on that shot from Shoemaker. He was looking for his third. He scored back-to-back goals in the second quarter. He was the one to tie this game at 6 apiece, and Central has held on to that lead ever since.
The Trojans have taken away the passing for Central. The slides have been real nice, and they really defended well and not allowed Central anybody to get a really clean shot. Oh, come on.
James McCarthy with the backhander. Talk about a clean shot, Doug. All you got to do is shoot it from behind.
He sneaks in. Oh, it's just pass and then just, I mean, you're asking for an awful lot. Defense really, really good for the Trojans right there. Not allowing them to get the open shot or the open pass from behind. It was Karetsis that found him. That's the best, that's the nicest goal of the game, and a big one at the end of this quarter to put him up 3.
That's his third of the game. He was the only goal scorer in the first quarter with 2, so that is the hat trick for senior James McCarthy. As the third quarter comes to a close, back-to-back goals from the Vikings have them up by 3, 11-8. One more to play. Remember, it went to OT last year, so don't go anywhere. We've got fourth quarter action coming up. Well, Allentown Central Catholic once again outscoring the Trojans here in the third quarter, going back-to-back, headed into the fourth. They are ahead 11-8. Parkland having trouble figuring out the Central defense, but Doug, I think the biggest thorn in their side has been the post.
Yeah. Well, listen, that last Central goal, it'll go a long way to see what happens here as far as can Parkland regroup, because it was in the last couple minutes. But you're right. So the Trojans have had some chances. So the Vikings are going to be frustrated because they've had some missed opportunities, whereas Parkland has gotten shots. A real nice connection between Cusco to Arezi, but we've heard that ping off the post too many times. So all the things we talked about heading into third even wicked up even more now. And here's again the Vikings with a chance to go up 4 for the first time. It happened early in the third, couldn't do it. Let's see if they can now or if Parkland answers back.
Well, off to a good start for the Trojans with the face-off win. Arezi needing quickly to dump it off. Wow, once again, Doug.
What did I just hear?
Familiar sound.
That's Garancher. I mean, these are rocket shots. Really good looks, but just missing.
Yeah, that's tough, and it's frustrating. You feel like, you know, it's all against you at that point, so they got to not let that get to their heads. But I like that they're still taking these shots. Ooh, falling to the ground.
Is that Kelly?
That's Kelly.
Yep.
Matthew Kelly, the junior midfielder, on his way to the carpet, gets one back for the Trojans.
Once again, so Kelly had a goal earlier in the game and was able to clear around Central. Watch where he puts his shot. So it's middle on the ground. But that's one you'd think, well, there's no way because he's fallen to the ground, but he's able to keep the bounce long enough. Now, again, they don't have the services of Wetmore, 29, who is, he's listed as a midfielder but does play offense. So anybody else that can step in there, and Kelly's had some good chances. He had a missed earlier in the third.
Well, an infraction here on the face-off, so this one will go to the Trojans.
This is the concern for Central, and Will Odenthal is the Trojans' ability to put together a run.
Yeah, and a goal like that, when you get a big goal, when it's an impressive one, like we saw with James McCarthy behind the back, you know, I feel like if that goal happened a little earlier in the quarter, there might have been a couple right after it.
Yeah.
So we'll see if the Trojans can kind of back their teammate by building upon what he was able to accomplish to start this fourth. Looking for the wind-up, passes off. That's Garancher. Back to X for Arezi. Arezi with one goal in this game in the third quarter.
Oh, man. That was Garancher again.
Wow.
But the good news for the Trojans is they're able to regroup.
They've done a good job of getting back possession after these post shots. But man, they just keep piling on. Top side, nothing there. He shoots cross body. Nothing going for the Trojans.
That's Mason Afif. He's got 4 goals this year, so he's getting a chance to contribute on the offensive side also.
Wanting to turn and shoot there, but good slide by the Vikings to push him back out. Parker Cusco has been quiet. Finnegan with a shot. Bounces off of Burke. They're trying to get it back up front.
All right, now that's back-to-back saves by Burke. It's going to stay. They're going to get a push on Central. It stays with Parkland. He saved 2 of them and tried to cover the last one. Oh, there's a shot in the back. Yep, okay.
Yeah, so while he was able to cover that up, that push will give it back to Parkland. Handed another opportunity here.
It's a penalty, right? I mean, no penalty.
No.
Nope, no penalty.
Arezzi working around the crease, turns, shoots, and he scores. Colton Arezzi, his 2nd of the game to bring this back within 1.
Well, that's what we talked about, and that's how difficult he is. And Central's been staying with him, but see the little screen behind the goal? That's what cleared just enough. Right here, the screen coming up, nicely done by Parkland. And it allowed Arezzi. I mean, you're jumping and turning. That's a tremendous shot, but he's got that ability. It was Tapia, that number 3, that created the screen, and just enough separation to allow him to get around clean and get a good look. For him, that's routine, right? Jump up like that and shoot over the shoulder, that's routine.
Now let's see how Central responds. So back-to-back goals to start this quarter for Parkland. It's a 1-goal game. Quick shot up front, and they make quick work of the response.
Shoemaker?
That was Shoemaker. Wait until they can turn their jerseys around so we can see him up close. No way we can see him from up here in the press box. So Shoemaker once again getting another to go.
McCarthy from behind, right? He gets the assist. Yep, nice answer back. I think it was McCarthy. Again, sorry, folks. Very difficult. Very, very difficult to see these.
It is almost impossible to see these.
I think people
jersey
in the stands
numbers
can't even see these.
I don't know how they're legal, but
so football made a rule that you can't do this anymore. I will say that.
They might have to after this year.
Not might, they do.
Might have to switch that over to lacrosse, but Shoemaker with his 3rd.
The other thing too is that you want to be able to acknowledge a player for a good until we can get tight on our monitor, especially the defenders. The Central defenders have done an excellent job up until that last one on Arezzi. And I'm pretty sure it's Carter Young that's got him, the long stick defender.
Yeah, we thought Parklands were hard to read with the gray on white until we saw this year's Central away jerseys. Their home jerseys, I believe, are white, but they still are mesh, but they're way more visible. So apologies if we get any of these numbers wrong. Kelly wanting another. That one goes wide, so that was a shot he was feeling comfortable to take, knowing he's got Arezzi at X.
Yeah, so Restino is marking him. The other thing, too, is a couple of these guys changed numbers from last year to this year.
They did. Restino went from 3 to 1.
Yes.
For the wind-up, shoot, cross-body, that one once again wide for the Trojans. Mason Afif, the senior mid.
You don't really want to fault Parkland here for shooting and just fire away. I want to see if Arezzi's able to get an opportunity again off a screen to create some chaos in front. Finnegan has been really good. You mentioned Cusco. He's been quiet. I don't expect that to happen. And not, we say quiet. He's still scored a bunch of times, but
yeah.
And they've been able to, another one off the post. Man. This is going to go to...
I haven't been keeping count of how many have hit the post, but it's more goals, more than they've scored.
Yes. And now Central could really put a dagger in this. Let's see what they do if they take some time up 2.
You know what? That's a strategy a lot of teams will pull out in these late fourth quarters when it's this close. It's not the most fun thing to watch, but it's a good strategy. It usually works.
We saw Emmaus do that at the end of last year, right?
We sure did. We sure did. That was over 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Shoot, and they score. No wasting time for the Vikings. Jack Restino once again finding purchase.
Is that his 5th, right? I think. They go up. That's huge.
That is his 5th.
Yeah, that's huge because, again, what has he been doing the best? We talked about Arezzi. You can't defend him. You can't defend him either. He's been able to get away, so they're trying to match him up. And it doesn't matter. He goes through 2 different defenders, and you got a long stick defender, part of that, who's done a great job so far tonight in Magaluri, and he just needs a little break, but he just gets around him. Yeah, if we broke down all of Rustino's goals, pretty sure he has he's been the dodge, and he's been able to get to the goal and get a good look.
It's obvious why he's gained attention from Division I programs like Stony Brook, is where he'll be headed in a couple years. He's just a junior, so he'll have 1 year left in this Vikings jersey. But this is his last year playing with his brother Michael.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So those two are trying to take advantage of these moments. We mentioned Michael Rustino a little banged up this year. He's been quiet in this game, kind of spending some time on the sidelines as well as on attack. So 3-goal lead for the Vikings about midway through the 4th quarter here. We've seen the runs happen, so it's not out of the picture for Parkland if they can just get past the post.
Kind of hear the call.
All right.
Stopped action. That's about all it did.
Give him a breather, why not? Miss pass. Pick it back up.
Defending Cusco. Oh,
wow.
He just lost
the
his footing.
Defense, yeah, but
this is, I mean, Central's done this most of the second half. There's a switch here. There's the slide. And Burke
I
said,
wish I could see that number. I
know.
believe that the defensive number, 20-something.
Burke
Sorry,
stepped
bud.
in front.
That was some great defense.
They've been really good back there. Parkland with a timeout, right? Or Central's going to call it. So this gives me a second. You were talking about Central. So EPC 2 or 3 seed, depending on tonight. You would agree that they would be the favorite in 2A, District 11, correct? Being an understatement, just
yes.
a nice way of putting it, right? That's what
Not
I'm trying
to take away from the Tigers.
So it took, right. So what I'm going to get at is...
But even Moravian Academy is playing well. They got a great goalie, great Fogo.
So so Northwestern not at the level they've been the last couple of years, but Moravian, Southern Lehigh, Northwestern still going to be a tough out. But just like Easton's going to be up top, Del Val played Parkland this year, right? The Trojans beat them. And Easton's going to be the favorite up top, but it's going to be good action. Those teams have clinched that we have in green. Emmaus, I'm sorry, won't want to play them postseason either, just because you never know. But those teams that have been the hammers in years past, Emmaus, Freedom, not quite at that level just yet. That's the way I'm looking at it. I don't want to, right? But still going to be tough. And in Central, it's going to be their district tournament to lose in the 2A.
It absolutely is. And again, we still don't know what some of these other teams are able to accomplish. We mentioned that Northwestern Lehigh has taken Parkland to overtime. They've caused some issues for a lot of teams this season. And again, Moravian Academy, they've had some really bright spots. They have some really talented kids on their team. It's just the competition within this area is super tight for them. They haven't gotten over that hump just yet. They've been in the district final, haven't come out on top. I mean, it used to be, right, Southern Lehigh, Central. Now it's Western Central. Southern Lehigh's fallen off a little bit. But Central's really just owned that 2A classification since it was split up between 3A and 2A. The last one, Doug, the last one to win a true district title was Southern Lehigh when it was all just 3A.
Yeah, they're one of the teams that started this thing way back.
Yeah.
Way back when it was unofficial.
Deck to the ground, but that is a stop for Matalevichus.
All right, now the Trojans, it's getting to be that part under 5 where you can't waste too many. Oh, how about that?
Lucky bounce for Colton Arezzi, the hat trick for the freshman.
He's gonna bounce
They're not
another
dead in
one.
the water just yet.
Nope.
A lot of time left to play, and this this is winnable for the Trojans.
You got that right. 4:46. You see the time. And a great transition by Parkland to push the ball down the field. And then Arezi does a nice spin move, and very similar to the jump up and shoot, except it was the other hand, left-handed on the goal earlier, and he's able to clear space. It's almost like it's like a fadeaway. You're getting away from the defender and letting it rip. This is going to go to Central, a push on the face-off, and now we might have something that has been said coming off the field as we see a flag.
We'll see how this one shakes out.
It's a hold on Parkland. Esteban's going to get it. Here at the time of the penalty, so they'll be down. This is going to be crucial for Parkland to keep it a 2-goal deficit.
So a man-up opportunity for the Vikings. Quick feeds, quick passes around the circle, quick shot. That one deflected before it got to Matalevicius. Back to X, that's McCarthy. Up top, wanting to shoot low to high, but Parkland all over it. Cuts it off at the base. Picking up wheels. Quick feed in front, the shot. Stopped by Burke. We've got a down Viking on the turf.
Yeah, again, tough to see the number right now, but yeah, I don't know.
It's Michael Restino, I believe.
Cramp, look at this. I tell you what, I wanted to say something before when we saw Wetmore go off, the sportsmanship. This is tops.
Hand for this one. This is what we want to see. The sportsmanship between two really close teams.
That's Brayford does it. So you saw Restino defensively coming back, and he just went down and was unable to come back up again. And you see Shoemaker doing it. The Heat, I guess, today a little bit.
Well, Shoemaker, I saw him limping around a little bit before.
True, yes.
So maybe didn't have enough bananas before this game, but a little cramp action going on.
Two things that someone has to discover before we all die. The mental mindset of a high school athlete, girl and boy, on what you're going to get, especially in May and June.
You'll never figure that out.
And what can we do to eliminate cramps?
Seriously. I mean, I was told I got them almost every single practice in swimming. I'd have to lay myself out on the deck and figure it out. And I was told I needed to take these big old potassium horse pills or bananas.
It's the thing is that nothing seems to work.
Nothing works.
I get them sometimes, and I don't even know what I'm doing to get them. I'm not taking horse pills, I'll tell you that, but I'm making a note of that.
Have you seen potassium pills? They're large.
I'm just going to eat a bunch of bananas for that. Gwen says horse pills for cramps.
Or, drink some water, stay hydrated. But it's tough. I mean, these guys are going all day long.
Yes, and it is warmer tonight, cooled off a little bit now, but everybody seems to be okay. So now another important possession for the Vikings with that 2-goal lead. See if they take a little bit more time off, too.
Yeah, if I'm Central, I'm holding on to it for as long as I can, but I'm not Central, and thankfully so, because they pull further away. Liam Farrell gets his second of the game, second of the second half to pull further away. It is 14-11.
It's just snuck in there, too. Great feed. I mean, a big body guy that they left alone. You saw the hit late from Gertis, but he's a good distance away, and he just snuck in there. That's been at times an issue for the Parkland defense, whether someone gets behind their line or kind of gets in position, and that's a big goal.
Esteban wins the faceoff, dumps it off to Arezi, who thinks better of making the play. 3 minutes left to go in this fourth quarter. It's rally time for the Trojans.
And Arezi goes back to that X position. Garancher was there for a minute. I think he's leading in the pipe category as 26, Garancher.
He sure is. Feet up front, unable to connect the pass, but a second opportunity gives Kelly the grab.
Oh, created, turned out it was Afif again that went in. Penalty now. It's going to be
That'll
on
be
Parkland.
on Parkland. Yep. There was a
frustration.
little bit of a cross check to the head area. So Central all too happy to take advantage of this free possession. McCarthy with it now, getting pushed back deep.
They're gonna take as much time as they can.
Yeah, under 2 minutes left to play.
And Will Odenthal is having a discussion. What's going on? Why did we stop it?
And they bring okay, so he's not going to take his seat. So there's just one penalty here. That's Parker Cusco.
So there's Tommy McGorry. That's one of the guys that's been a contributor in the defensive end. We saw a little bit ago, 25 Connor Lawler coming off. These are guys that are playing that defensive backfield that have really been important. That last possession for the Trojans with Arezi behind the goal, they dropped the second defender down to take away his ability to cut underneath, and that was crucial in creating the turnover.
Jack Restino, 5 goals in this game so far. Able to get the bouncing ball. Looking a little frenzied right now. Job on McCarthy getting low for that pass. But it goes errantly to the midfield, and Parkland gets another opportunity. They've got 125 to erase a few goal deficit here in the fourth. Kelly scooping low. That one ricochets back to the Vikings.
Burke slides down. He's been taking away that bottom part of the goal much better since the opener.
That was the 15th save for Chris Burke, which is surprising considering the post
Yeah.
has helped him a ton.
There's a penalty. And Garancher was taken down. Santiago, who gets called, he's been another guy back there that has done a great job with the long stick defender to take away Parkland in this second half. Yeah, he kind of trips himself, but maybe it was one of those cases where, oh, I'm feeling some pressure across the midsection, goes down, draws it. If that was the case, it's heads up.
Whatever you got to do, and Parkland will happily take the man advantage late in this game. Under a minute left to go. They've got a lot of ground to make up for here. They got to score quick, get back on the face-off, win that. Wanted the shot from there. Didn't have the angle, but that is the angle. So just like that, they score quick. Garancher not getting the post this time, Doug.
I heard something, but it went in. Boy, he deserves it. I'm glad he got one there because he deserves it. And listen, this game, I know it's 43.6. That's not over. You can score that quickly. And this was another rocket shot. Burke with the right-handed, the stick right hand is unable to come over. Boy, they got it in there quickly. Yeah, he deserved one.
They needed to, and they need a really quick face-off win here, which they know they can get.
I think that the key here for Seiler is to not allow Esteban a clean one. In other words, one that he could possess and go down the field. And here he comes.
They took enough time away from him. On the run, the pass to Arezi does not connect. That killed 10 seconds or so. And a timeout called as Trojans will try and figure out how they want to attack this possession. 30 seconds to go. Again, you score quick, get back to the face-off. You let Esteban do what he does best. You give yourself another opportunity. See, Andrew's here. He's trying to draw something up right now for his offense.
Well, you got the face-off win. I've seen goals in, 10 seconds, 16 seconds? So they get one here. I'm talking about on a face-off. So if they get one here with some time left, I would give them, I think under 10 is going to be tough. But if you have 10 seconds and you can tie this or get it to within one with 10 to go, you got a chance. with Esteban's ability to win the draw.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a similar thing happen last year.
Yeah.
They tied it up really, really late.
What's funny is that this is very similar to last year's game where one team would take a little lead, then we'd get tied again, another lead. Because I think we thought Central had a chance to seal that one late, and Parkland got back into it.
Yes.
Scored a bunch to get closer.
Yep, there was a little bit of a mistake, a costly mistake for Central.
So this looks to be, you know, it doesn't matter what happens tonight. This is going to be a 2-3 EPC semi matchup. That's going to be a fun one.
It is. Yeah, these two teams could see each other pretty soon here. So EPC is getting underway late next week. Quick shot and score, Blake Finnegan. Oh my goodness, we are within one. Deja vu, folks.
I heard something, but it went in again. I heard nylon at the end of this. Great shot and a clear. I mean, that is from way back, but on target. And Burke, you saw just over his shoulder. So, plenty of time, 21 seconds if they can get the draw.
Hat trick for Blake Finnegan. 21 seconds. This a very important face-off for Max Esteban. And he wins it cleanly. To Arezzi. Burke makes the save. Wow, that right there might give Central the victory.
Yep. That's
Chris Burke.
Oh, wait. No, I thought it was a turnover. Yeah, that'll do it. Wow. He only needed one save, and it was right there. That was big.
Wow. Chris Burke puts the final dagger in this one as Allentown Central Catholic gets its redemption over Parkland, snapping a 2-game losing streak to these Trojans. That one hurt last year, hurting the most in overtime, but Allentown Central Catholic winning by 14-13. There's Corey Andrews and Odin Thaw with the handshake. Man, that we couldn't have asked for a better game tonight, Doug.
And it was very, very close to what I thought 11-10 might be the final, but 14-13. Great game, and teams battling back. Parkland fell behind to Central after they came back in the second and battled back in at a couple. And again, you're talking about flipping a coin maybe next time these two teams play. How many posts? And that's going to be the frustrating part for Parkland. But on the good side is if you're fractions of an inch off the other way, you got a couple of goals there that maybe build a lead. So this again should be the semifinal matchup in the EPCs, and that will be a lot of fun. Parkland's got Emmaus to finish the season. Central's going to play Hempfield in their last regular season game. That's out of district, out of conference. But boy, that was as good as we kind of thought it was going to be.
And if you looked at the Central team we saw come out in that first quarter, you might have not thought it would end this way. James McCarthy had a couple goals early, but Jack Restino, man, he just took over.
Hell yeah, 5 goals on 7 shots. And again, very similar. Here's him clearing on the dodge, on the attack. Maybe the most difficult goal he had because of Scott's ability to kind of create separation. But again, these are not up-close feeds from teammates. He's going in, he's splitting defenders. This is all the way down the field, I believe, coming out of a timeout, and he's just getting around everybody and getting a clean look. And again, on a ground ball effort, this was late too, because he scored most of those goals in the second, third, and fourth quarter, and then he gets a good shot on Matalevicius. I mean, that's a guy that teams in the postseason got to be concerned about. Parkland hits him in the EPCs, and then whoever plays them next after that.
Yeah, if these two see each other again, I would imagine Jack Restino will have a lot more company than he did tonight. So 5 goals on 7 shots for Restino, but Chris Burke really making the big play at the end to make sure Allentown Central Catholic improves to 7-1 in the EPC. They solidify that second spot again just a week into the EPC playoffs. Parkland now 6-2 in the EPC. We mentioned one more league game to go in this regular season. Wow, we hope you enjoyed this thrilling boys lacrosse game. For Doug Heater, our entire crew, I'm Gwen Begley. Thanks so much for watching EPC Boys Lacrosse here on the Service Electric Network.